What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today we are departing Charlotte, North Carolina. We're blasting up the East Coast and we're headed all the way to Maine. Like I said, we're heading out from Charlotte, North Carolina. I just pulled out of my parking garage here, so that way there was a little bit better light. But we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, South Park area. It's about midday. We're going to have about a 10-hour driving day today, and then also continue tomorrow. Today we're going to end up roughly Pennsylvania, New Jersey-ish, somewhere in there as a stopping point. Going to have probably a 10+ hour day, do about not 600 miles or so of the like 900 or so miles of the whole trip. We're actually headed to Mid-Coast, Maine, going to be there for about a week. But let me just show you some of the route, the car, things like that. So this is my 2023 Tesla Model Y all-wheel drive. This has the 4680 structural battery pack. It is not a long range and it is not an LFP. This model is now discontinued as of a couple weeks, maybe a couple months ago. Hard to keep track with Tesla's changes. I have it wrapped with Steck Dyno Prism. So that way it has this extra metallic kind of flip effect, gives it some purple hue. Has some EV base wheel covers. Those are also linked in the description. Something I like to add, I run this all the time, but really good for road trips. It's a grill screen, keeps you from getting bugs and leaves and things accumulated in there. Also have some Rally Armor mud flaps, so that way you're not getting all the rock chips here. Not that it would matter a whole lot since I have PPF, but still, if you don't have PPF, very helpful. We also have my 3D mats, which need a little bit of vacuuming, as you can see. Also linked down below. Huge fan of these. They clean up extremely well. But white interior, we've got the car pretty loaded up. Still got to grab Bethany and her stuff. But here's the car, and we'll hop inside, and I'll show you guys at least a tentative route as of right now. So I actually did some planning on a better route planner because Tesla's route planner has been pretty wonky lately. And also, if you haven't already, I have a video called Outsmarting Tesla's route planner, something like that. I'll link it for you guys, but definitely recommend it before you go on a road trip. And so here we are. I have manually put in actually the Circle K in Wytheville because the Tesla supercharger in Wytheville is a bit farther out of the way. So that makes more sense. Otherwise, we'd have to stop in Mount Airy and then probably Lexington would be my guess. Whereas this way, we can actually go straight to Wytheville. We might actually be able to just skip Wytheville and go all the way to probably Roanoke here would be my guess. Or maybe Salem makes more sense, even though it's a V2. That looks like a little bit better access, maybe? Yeah, it looks like better access there. Get off there, whatever. Whereas this other one is a little bit further off the interstate. Interesting location there. But anyway, if we can continue past Wytheville, we certainly will. But right now the car is anticipating arriving there with 39%. We're at 279 miles rated range remaining right now at 100% charge. And that's exactly what this car was rated for new. And there we have odometer, 12,428 miles. So let's reset the trip here. Maine. So there we have that. That way we'll track all the stats. I also have Teslafy, Tessie, and some others logging as well. So this is the tentative route. I haven't booked a hotel. This is kind of just the target point for tonight. It's in Clinton, I think is the name of the place. New Jersey. Yeah, Clinton, New Jersey. They have level 2 charging. We'll see if we can make it that far. But I've ordered some Starbucks. Going to go pick that up, pick up Bethany, and then we will hit the road. I'll see you guys on the road and probably at Wytheville, or if we continue past, we'll see you there. So we're just going to kind of play it by ear. Go as far as we can on this first leg because that's what makes the most sense. But there's also a fairly decent chance that we will be bladder limited rather than range limited. So may need to make a stop anyway. And at that point, we may as well stop somewhere that has charging and combine those stops. Got the Starbucks. It's a bit odd. They're using Starbucks Reserve insulator sleeve things. I've got my refresher, my Impossible Sausage sandwich. And now time to hit the road. Well, made a change of plans. The vehicle's battery lasted longer than my bladder after some Starbucks, so drove 111 miles. We're at Mount Airy, which is not even at the Virginia border quite yet, but just going to plug in, use the restroom, continue on. So we'll see how this reroutes once we depart, but there's quite a few options along the way. We'll at least make it there to Salem, but realistically probably try to make it to Lexington or Rafine is what it's saying right now, but that's with a 20-minute stop, which we are very unlikely to actually do. Let's just see. This one is actually this one. So this one's 35 cents a kilowatt hour, and it's at a Circle K right off the interstate, so good stop, and we'll get plugged in. We're at 49%. Let's see what we get. I did actually just get a software update last night, so maybe there's a slight chance they improved the charging with this update. I'm hopefully optimistic. Let's see, we're ramping up. And that looks like about normal, so just shy of 90 kilowatts at 49%, which is pretty mediocre. But we'll use the restroom and continue on. Last stop, we charged from 49% to about 64%. May have ticked over to 65, I don't recall, but it was about a 7 or 8 minute stop. Added about 10 kilowatt hour and basically just used the restroom. I made some tweets about this trip for the Twitter thread that I will link down below for you guys if you want to see posts and see this trip in text versus just in the video. Click down there. But we're off to, currently it's navigating to Salem, but we'll try and go a little further if we can. We'll just see kind of how efficiency goes and whether we can push it further than that, because it's projecting a 31% arrival to Salem, which is higher than I'd like, but we'll see how traffic cooperates and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you there. Couldn't push it quite all the way to Lexington or Rafine, but we're at 21% in Salem, Virginia. We'll see what the car wants to do. This is a version 2 supercharger. So this one's 34 cents a kilowatt hour. We've driven 96 miles since the last stop, so not too bad. We're at a Sheetz, which is a pretty great site host for superchargers. You can tell it's a version 2. This is an uncooled cable, so these are maxed out at 150 kilowatts. It has the silver ring here. It's pretty cool out. It's about 70 degrees, or actually 64 degrees, so no need to do the wet towel trick to keep this cool. It should be totally fine. Yeah, this is a small little town. Not a ton going on here. You can see the supercharger cabinets over there. Actually surprisingly close to the underground storage tank vent stacks, but must be in compliance. We've got 2 other cars here. Let's see if we're ramped up. And just like that, 140 kilowatts right off the bat, which is pretty much maxed out. The pack in this vehicle has a little bit lower voltage, so it maxes out at 400 amps. So we're just going to charge up, maybe grab some food, and then continue on. I need to see what makes sense as far as the next chargers. This is just what the car says, but not 100% sure if that makes sense. And I don't like that 40-minute stop that it's wanting to do there. So we'll see if we can push maybe Strasburg. Let's see. Edit trip. Let's try that again. Okay, so continue. I don't know why it's putting in Mount Jackson. That doesn't really make sense. charging stops. They do not make this touch area big enough. Okay, well, we'll see what it charges up to and then figure it out from there. Well, we got some made-to-order food, sandwiches, and some appetizers and milkshakes in Sheets right behind us, so pretty good experience there. Not the fastest, but kind of worked out with charging speeds. We charge up to 80% in 34 minutes, I believe it was. And thanks to all of you guys using my referral, I've redeemed for supercharger miles, and all of the charging for this entire trip will be free, at least on superchargers, which is pretty fantastic. So thank you all for using my referral, which again is down below if these videos help you with your buying decision. But we're gonna head off to Woodstock, Virginia next, which is about 150 miles, and with 80%, that should be no problem at all, especially having to drive pretty reasonable speeds here in Virginia, where you can get arrested for going over 80. So definitely, if you're driving through Virginia, watch your speeds. Well, I tried to make it all the way to Winchester, which is here, but it was projecting 0% arrival, and it was getting a little nerve-wracking, and there's also some traffic and stuff. So ended up going to Strasburg, which is here, basically straight west of Washington, D.C. And that actually puts us pretty nicely to have a middle point before we get to the hotel here-ish, assuming we book there, which we probably will. But yeah, currently at 6%, had pretty good efficiency on the way here, 288 watt-hour per mile. I'll just pull up this charger here. So this is a 6-stall version 2, 150 kilowatt and 39 cents a kilowatt hour. So let's get plugged in. This is also a weird angled one. Definitely a little bit older installation. I don't know exactly when this was built, but we're at a diner. There's a Burger King, and there's a 7-Eleven. You can maybe kind of sort of see it. You can see the canopy at least. But anyway, we're just going to get charged up here. And pro tip with version 2, so we've got 3B, 3A, 2B, 2A, 1B, 1A, and they do share power across those. But man, this is a beautiful stop, actually. This is quite delightful, and it's right at kind of sunset. Really no complaints from me, but let's go see what kind of speeds we're getting. Car looks great, even though it's a little dirty. And just like that, we're getting exactly the power we should be, 135 kilowatts, and that'll ramp up slowly as the pack voltage goes up. So, sounds great to me. Well, I tried to make it all the way to Winchester, which is here, but it was projecting 0% arrival, and it was getting a little nerve-wracking, and there's also some traffic and stuff. So ended up going to Strasburg, which is here, basically straight west of Washington, D.C. And that actually puts us pretty nicely to have a middle point before we get to the hotel here-ish, assuming we book there, which we probably will. But yeah, currently at 6%, had pretty good efficiency on the way here, 288 watt-hour per mile. I'll just pull up this charger here. So this is a 6-stall version 2, 150 kilowatt and 39 cents a kilowatt hour. So let's get plugged in. This is also a weird angled one. Definitely a little bit older installation. I don't know exactly when this was built, but we're at a diner. There's a Burger King, and there's a 7-Eleven. You can maybe kind of sort of see it. You can see the canopy at least. But anyway, we're we're just going to get charged up here. And pro tip with version 2, so we've got 3B, 3A, 2B, 2A, 1B, 1A, and they do share power across those. But man, this is a beautiful stop, actually. This is quite delightful, and it's right at kind of sunset. Really no complaints from me, but let's go see what kind of speeds we're getting. Car looks great, even though it's a little dirty. And just like that, we're getting exactly the power we should be, 135 kilowatts, and that'll ramp up slowly as the pack voltage goes up. So, sounds great to me. We charged from 6 to 73% in 34 minutes, and we have about 116 miles to the next stop in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Also managed to book a hotel that has level 2 charging, so we should wake up to a full charge tomorrow morning. They have 2 J1772 and 2 Tesla wall connectors. So hopefully one is available, but I'll plan as if none are available, so there's enough buffer to get to the next one, even if tight, but still will save some time tomorrow just having charging. So off to the next one, sun setting, beautiful night, no complaints. Arrived to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania with 9%. We drove 137 miles on this leg. This was not the easiest supercharger to find, kind of buried in the back of this parking lot, but I think this is a pretty old one, so that makes sense. 8 stall version 2, and it is 37 cents a kilowatt hour. We've got, I think, about 110 miles to the hotel, 116 miles. We've got some bailout options along the way, but we're going to be in a little bit of a charging desert, so I may call the hotel ahead to see that the charging is available, just to make sure. So that way we can roll in relatively low, because I don't like to count on hotel charging otherwise, because it's definitely a bit of a roll of the dice. These version 2 cables are a bit stiff in this cold weather, as they usually are, because these are not liquid cooled. Of course, we've got 2 cabinets there, 2 cabinets there. Kind of an interesting little setup. They both have gateways on them, which is interesting that they did them separately rather than running a conduit between them. Huge switchgear. It's definitely before Tesla kind of optimized things. Yeah, so 2 posts over here and then quite a few over here. So you can see the primary line coming down to the transformer. It's probably a 500 kVA would be my guess. Let's see if there's a label on here. I don't see any obvious labels, but probably a 500 kVA would make sense. Another Tesla pulling up, going to charge up here and then head to the hotel. Well, charging up to have enough range to get to the Basking Ridge, New Jersey supercharger. That's 137 miles away. Also have enough range for the car to sit overnight, just in case we can't charge. Got some Jimmy John's. We're charging up to about 75% or so, which should be plenty. But then we're going to hit the road. I think, yeah, should be pretty easy. This is a nice little spot. Surprisingly busy on a random Wednesday night in a seemingly fairly suburban area. I don't know. This is just a weird area, I feel like. But yeah, getting a little bit late. We'll probably get to the hotel around 11 p.m. and then we'll hit the road early again tomorrow morning. Charged up to 75%. Just going to unplug here in just a moment. Showing 22% arrival to the hotel, 10% arrival to the next supercharger along the route, just in case we can't charge at the hotel. I'm pretty convinced we'll be able to. Tried calling, they wouldn't tell me if it was open or not, but is what it is. So we'll plan as if it's not there and be happy if it is available. So just gonna unplug. Charged to 80%. Hotel is 116 miles away. Next supercharger along the route is 137 miles away. So we have enough range to make it to the supercharger, enough range to sit overnight if needed. And it's time to hit the road so we can get to the hotel. Looks like a little after 11. So not too terrible, but definitely a bit late. Well, we've arrived to the hotel, Town Place Suites in Clinton, New Jersey. I meant to book a Homewood Suites that had free Tesla destination chargers, but I messed up, so that was my mistake. Let's see here. $6 an hour. What kind of ridiculous rate is that for level 2 charging at a hotel? That is astronomical. Let's see if we're actually getting decent power. So 30 amps at 211 volts. So that would be a 9 times 36. It's 9 times 36. $35 charge? That's crazy. I guess not completely outrageous, but still. Good morning from Clinton, New Jersey. Just unplugged from this crazy expensive level 2 charger. Turns out my math was totally failing me last night. It was about $50 to charge overnight. I stopped it this morning when I woke up. It was at 97%, still pulling 6 kilowatts. But basically $1 per kilowatt hour at $6 per hour at 6 kilowatt, which is just absolutely outrageous. But thanks to you guys for using my referral. All the supercharging is going to be free. So I guess it kind of all just works out. So I'm not too concerned with it, but still just crazy expensive. But we're headed out here. We're going to make a stop at a supercharger to meet up with a friend of mine. He's actually buying an Apple Watch from me, my old one. So quick meet up there in New Jersey, and then we're going to blast to Boston, meet up with some people, Portsmouth, and then we're going to head to Maine. So it should be a fairly long day with some nice nice sightseeing and not a ton of mileage. I think about 400 miles today versus the 600 miles yesterday. So definitely improvement in that regard. And 626 miles driven yesterday. We're going to this supercharger. Made it to Springfield, New Jersey with 76%. Like I said, we don't really need to charge here per se, but we're meeting up with a friend of mine, and then we're gonna head, looks like we'll charge in Connecticut and then make it all the way to Boston. It's an 8-stall version 3, fairly full early Thursday morning at a Wawa. Charged to 98%. And we're headed to Connecticut and then to Boston.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
I'll be in Charlton, Massachusetts. We arrived with 13%, drove just shy of 200 miles on this leg. We're headed into Boston and then kind of up. But let's get plugged in. This one's at a service plaza right off of I-90, the toll road in Massachusetts, which is a pretty excellent spot for charging, extremely convenient. There we go, we'll get plugged in. Just a version 3 supercharger, doesn't have the labels like I've seen on some that indicate that it's been retrofitted for PLC. Got two other cars here. This is an 8 stall. You've got the cabinets there, transformer. Let's see what kind of speeds we're getting. Ramping up, we should get a full 200-ish kilowatts. There we go. We charged from 13 to 83% in 38 minutes. Grab some McDonald's, not the best option, but it is an option here. But at least we're at a motor plaza that makes it very easy to get on and off the interstate. And we're headed to Boston. So should be an easy drive, but lots of gas pumps here, and in typical Massachusetts fashion, they have crazy fire suppression.
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go, go.
The statue that's behind it is Lincoln, and then on the panels, on all of the panels, are all of the Massachusetts, I think it's all Massachusetts, maybe just Cambridge, infantrymen who died during the Civil War. Like a bunch of this.
After wandering around Harvard Square in Boston, we are headed to Portsmouth, where we'll get dinner, and then we'll head to Wells, which will be our last charging stop before we head into Maine. So time to hit the road. It looks like we'll arrive to Portsmouth with about 30%, and then we'll arrive to the supercharger, where we'll charge up a fair bit with 17%. Well, got dinner here in Portsmouth, and we're headed to the Wells, Maine supercharger. That'll be our last charging stop. Going to charge up a fair bit before we head kind of west of Portland area. So yeah, don't have charging there, so need to charge quite a bit at the supercharger first. And just got in, and it's already preconditioning. We've got about 23 miles, 26 minutes to Wells, Maine. It's fairly chilly out, so it makes sense that it's already preconditioning, and I can hear it kind of whining. We've driven 116 miles on this charge so far. So let's get on the road. This is a new supercharger since the last time I was in Maine. Arrived in Wells, Maine. It's taking too long. We arrived with 13%. Oh, I pulled up the Google Maps page rather than the supercharger page. 42 cents a kilowatt hour, so that's actually a pretty pricey supercharger, but thanks to you guys again, I have free supercharging, so I'm not too concerned. But that's where we are, kind of south of Portland, Portland's up here. So we're gonna be doing quite a bit of driving all around Maine. And this is where I'm going to leave you guys, but we're going to charge up first, and I'll let you know where we left off. But there's the final stats for this trip. If you want to see final stats, I'll be posting on Twitter. Screenshot of that later on. Looks like they installed these superchargers backwards from typical. Normally they have it that the cable's hanging down from here over. But you can see a DC meter retrofit there, so it looks like they have been doing those here. So this site is capable of charging a non-Tesla with a NACS plug. Very dark here, not great lighting. Looks like that light is out, so that makes sense. But that light's also out, so I don't really know. This is an 8-stall version 3. See what kind of speeds we're getting. 184 kilowatts, ramping down there at 14%, so probably charge up to like 80% and then continue on. Well, it's time to wrap this up. Fortunately, it's very dark here, but let me just show you in the car kind of where we charged up to. We're up to about 65%, which should be plenty to be able to get to Portland and back to where we're staying. Then there's also quite a few superchargers along I-95 and just in general in Maine. So generally not too concerned with charging. If I can use even a wall outlet, I certainly will, but not going to count on it. I want to have my plan A as using superchargers, especially since the supercharger miles are free. So other than the crazy expensive $50 level 2 hotel charge last night, all the charging on this entire trip has been zero cost to me, which is pretty fantastic. So let me just show you some final stats here, and then I'll leave you guys there. And then if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. This is going to be a 2-part video. So this is part 1 of the drive up to Maine, and then there will be a part 2 of the drive back down to North Carolina from Maine. And we're going to be probably taking different routes. So you'll want to check out both of them if you haven't. So we've been here about 25 minutes, charged from 13 to 66%. And we've got our final stats here. So we've driven 990 miles since leaving North Carolina. Pretty good efficiency, actually, 295 watt-hour per mile. So that's a little over 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. And on this charge, 140 miles. So really getting good efficiency in the Northeast. Not as good down south where speeds are a little bit higher and traffic is not quite as dense. So you have cleaner air, which is less efficient. But 13,417 miles on the odometer. And when I see you guys next on the drive back down to North Carolina, we'll probably get close to 14,000, probably somewhere like 13,700 would be my guess. We shall see. But thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one.